right, here we go. I'm waiting for it to confirm that I'm online, and it's just about to do so. Okay, here is the Nayaswami song. I am strong in myself, I am free, complete in myself, I seek thee. In pleasure or pain, come loss or come gain, be praised or be blamed, I remain just the same. For nothing and no one is mine, for anger nor pride have I time. I seek God alone, only thee. In thy love and thy joy I am free. I seek God alone, only thee. In thy love and thy joy I am free. I am strong in myself, I am free. Well, hello there, folks. It is a very gray, sort of sleepy afternoon up here on the island. It's so gray that all we can see is gray. There's no ocean out there, there's no water. It's just all gray sky, gray roads, gray trees. Everything is gray, but not inside. We're going to read number 147, Whispers from Eternity. Many doors opened before me. Many doors opened before me at the dawn of thy coming. O Lord, the very earth shone with life when thou camest. The very ground on which I stood thrilled me because of thee. Every word dumb matter spoke to me, spirit resurrected by thy touch. All living things swayed in the incense breeze of thy approach, hinting at thy perfume of bliss. The sanctuary of omnipresence was long hidden by the darkness of my indifference, but now on the revealed courtyard of thy temple, I find thy joy gaily bubbling. With lifted palm cups of craving, I catch and drink from the vital waters of thy solace. Lord, I know now that I shall thirst nevermore. Interesting. This is, of course, poetic, prayer to men, but the quickening of life, the quickening of joy, the quickening of all things around us is something that even in small ways one can experience in meditation. It's because, to deeply concentrate and to be still is a higher octave, though a much subtler octave of energy. I don't mean the kind of crude run around and chop wood kind of energy or cook or wash dishes or drive a car, but concentration takes the much more subtle vitality and focus. After all, it's from ideas and concentration, inspiration that countries go to war, great monuments get built, and people find God. And so when we meditate and go very still, we feel this sort of like a substitution. It's like taking our energy, which is kind of like this during the day, and it gets focused. So it's more subtle, as I say, but it's also, well, more alive. And so when the poem here talks about all life coming alive, let me see if I can catch some of the phrases. They're nicely done. Hang on here. Very earth shone with life when thou approached. The very ground on which I stood thrilled me. Every word dumb matter spoke to me, spirit resurrected by thy touch. And so, and in the autobiography of a yogi, I think it's the chapter, An Experience in Cosmic Consciousness, or maybe it was another chapter where he had that experience. everything around him as he viewed it in that elevated state of consciousness began to sort of shimmer. And he could sometimes see X-ray like through like a wall and things. So and a physicist would probably describe in a somewhat similar manner the reality behind the seeming solidity in appearance of all the objects around us, including our bodies. They're just shimmering with life, but we don't have the eyes to see or the ears to hear. But in the quietude, the quiet state of meditation, that quickening of the pace of subtle energy, but it's the energy that has created and sustains this universe, can be can the beginnings of feeling that take place. Now, yesterday I talked a little bit about the contrast between the inner stillness that we seek in meditation and yesterday's prayer poem that exalted our hummingbird-like activities in service of the divine Dharma. But there's another contrast I'd like to make. It has to do with, is what meditation seeks a subjective state of mind, one that we project out by our imagination and our willpower? Or is it a state, an independent, in a sense, objective state of reality to which we aspire? Well, you're probably going to say something, well, never mind what you're going to say. Here's what I'm going to say. One would think, by the philosophical description of meditation and the techniques, that we are to yogas chitta vritti nirod, like Patanjali says, we are to clear the deck of the mind of all projections, all mental images, and so forth. And yes, of course, that is true. But if you look at the teachings of meditation and the writings of Yogananda and our founder, Swami Kriyananda, a direct disciple, you will see, in fact, I don't have it right here, but my favorite little book, Metaphysical Meditations, Yogananda gives all sorts of imagery based on nature or devotional imagery for us to focus on for meditation. So is imagination, visualization, a mere projection? Is it merely subjective? Is it false, therefore, to reality? The answer to that is more subtle than it might seem, because this very universe is said to be a dream of the Father, the dream of God, a projection from the consciousness of God in a dreamlike state, a projection of, you could say, imagination, fantasy, willpower, etc., will of this universe. Swami Sri Yukteswar is quoted in the autobiography as saying, disease and illness, the doorway to health or illness, comes through the imagination. It's our imagination of seeing ourselves as successful, as overcoming a habit, for example, that can be the doorway to the reality of overcoming that habit, to the reality of becoming successful. And so we, in part of our meditation techniques, if you will, if during meditation we visualize the rising moon on a beautiful evening, a calm evening over a lake, and seeing the reflection of that moon not distorted by any waves as we stand on the shore, any number of visualizations of great ocean, those can be very calming to the mind, very inspiring. We visualize the eyes of the Guru sitting before us, or the form of the Guru sitting and meditating with us, or at our heart center. Are those false images, mere projections? Well, you could say they are in the beginning, but what they do is attune the consciousness of the vibration of our consciousness to a subtler and yet more real reality, state of consciousness, than our present state of mind. And so they are valid forms of meditation that meditation can take, provided we understand that they simply take us like the horse to the water, but we must drink. We must then receive and enter into the reality towards which our projection, our imagination, our visualization is offering us. Visualization is very, very powerful. In daily life, our fears are visualized. Fear of getting the virus, for example. And yet, if we can visualize instead that we are strong and we are safe in the fortress of God's presence, then these two are powerful images which align ourselves to a truth that pre-exists, that coexists, that exists objectively and independent of our any other existing mental state that we may have entered into. So no, it is not a contradiction to use visualization, imagery, and so forth to achieve higher states of awareness. God bless you, great souls. Maybe tomorrow the sun will shine, but as my friends at Boeing, the few that are still left there, like to say, sun is always shining at 30,000 feet. The sun is always shining at the 30,000 foot level of your consciousness. Joy to y'all. Okay, signing